into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest instalment of our podcast series. We're delighted today to be talking to Fabian Fussek, who is co-founder and CEO of KAIKO Systems. Since starting the company in October 2020, he's been working towards a safer, smarter, more collaborative maritime industry by empowering shipping companies to turn frontline work into actionable intelligence. And today, KAIKO is used by thousands of seafarers on board more than about 900 ships worldwide. Fabian is an expert in leveraging digital technology for various industries, gaining experience in prop tech, VR, edtech, fintech, and mobility. He studied sociology, politics, and economics at Zeppelin University in Germany. Fabian, welcome to the podcast. To see you and to speak to you.
Thank you, Sean. It's great to be here.
Just really wanted to get the ball rolling, really, just looking at acceleration of digitalisation in the shipping industry, because, I mean, shipping is going through a period of positive change, I suppose, more sectors starting to really embrace digitalisation. But how seriously is shipping really sort of embracing that change? And what are the opportunities and the challenges facing shipping as it moves forward, would you say?
Yeah, that's a great question to get it started, Sean. Thank you so much. So shipping is often thought of being a very conservative industry that is a bit behind in terms of digitization. And I think until a few years ago, that would have been a very true statement. However, since we started with KAIKO Systems towards the end of 2020, and between then and now, a lot of things have changed. So while in 2020, 2021, the biggest concerns were still connectivity and the ability to, get data from vessels back to the office and vice versa. I think today the industry has already made great strides, and so the kind of problems and challenges have shifted to a bit more sophisticated or more nuanced areas. So where, as I said in the beginning, the connectivity was the main challenge that, at least for us, for KAIKO, we were facing. Today, it's more about how can shipping companies make sure that they retain talent and give their seafarers as well as their shore teams the best tools available. And so a lot of things have been happening. There is a lot of things happening in terms of the technology ecosystem. Massive amounts of companies that are fighting for the attention of shipping companies, and shipping companies struggling to kind of understanding which solutions are the best and how to position themselves, whether they want to go with an all-in-one solution, best in breed, and how to connect all of those and integrate them. So I think, to summarize it, shipping really has caught up and probably has now the same challenges that most other industries in the world are facing when it comes to digitization.
There's an interesting point you raised there about the need for retaining and attracting and retaining talent, because, I mean, it's acknowledged really that, you can have digitalization, but you still need people as well. And I'll come on to that in a second. But I think shipping really has always benefited and also been criticized for how fragmented it is. And I think that also comes to the fore when you look at digitalization, where you've got the early adopters, you've got the leaders in digitalization, and there's a lot happening. We can see that, as you rightly say, ship-to-shore connectivity improving so much now, and the big flow of data moving from vessels and fleets to the home base. But you've also got a large percentage of the shipping fleet, the global fleet, that is still sort of trying to catch up as far as digitalization is concerned. Do companies like KAIKO and yourself, really as an innovator, do you see that as an opportunity? Because it basically means that the whole market is there to be served, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the parallel to other industries that went through these cycles of digitization are very obvious. When you look at the technology adoption cycles from other industries that people have gone through, then shipping is no exception. I mean, for us with KAIKO Systems, we're now serving over 900 ships, and I would say, most of our customers are really in that group of innovators, those first movers that want to have the best technologies for their teams and for their customers to provide the best service to their customers. And now we are really only just scratching the surface of the market in terms of the early majority and really understanding what behaviors kind of dominate in the larger parts of shipping. And there we see, albeit a bit of a slower adoption and compared to the innovators, we definitely see patterns, whereas things are starting to speed up and people also can't really allow themselves to fall behind at this point, because as we all know, regulatory topics are growing teeth. They are not just compliance topics anymore, but they're really crucial for the performance and for the top line of many businesses. And so therefore, there's no way to stay in the late majority or even stay a laggard. You have to get ahead of it in order to not just survive, but thrive in this environment.
No, I think that's a valid point. And I think when you look at what the European Commission and Europe is doing very much in driving digitalisation, also the IMO, with single maritime window and what have you, that there is going to be an absolute necessity for the industry to really digitise. Touching on that point about shipping companies retaining talent, is that going to be a barrier, do you think? Because the seafarer of tomorrow is completely different to the seafarer of yesterday and potentially today, where you need the young, the tech savvy. You're going to be looking at a lot of systems that are going to be driven from shore rather than on board ship. How do you see all of that sort of being dealt with by an industry that's really waking up now to the advantages of digitalization?
Yeah, absolutely. The generational shift is absolutely already there, and as you mentioned, there is a new generation of seafarers coming to the ships, and they ask for different things. Let's be honest, the profession of a seafarer is not just a dangerous, but also a very hard one, a difficult one. And so in order to motivate young people to take this profession up and take it up as a career, you have to invest in job enrichment, and you have to invest in making these jobs comparable or even superior to other opportunities that those people can take. And the access to information and data and internet, that really should just be the baseline. That is, allow me to say, the bare minimum of being connected to the extent and to the degree that you as an individual want to be at any time, of course, outside your working hours, but still. And apart from that, what we see is that shipping companies invest a lot in their recruiting efforts, but also in their retaining efforts. And so the experience of a long-serving officer is really invaluable. And so most shipping companies are really trying to keep as many people engaged for as long as possible, as the knowledge and expertise really compounds over time. And of course, part of that is providing modern tools also to do their job in their day-to-day business. And that really is rewarded by the seafarers and by the crews on board of the ships. And what we hear is that decisions are really being made for or against the company based on the bare minimum, but also the working reality, like how it looks like or how it feels like to work for a company. And if the tool set is really basically something that is expected in the 21st century, or if it's still kind of lags behind.
Brilliant. Okay, so now we met up in Posidonia about a month or so ago, and it was really good to catch up with you, Fabian, which is great. Now, told me about the sort of the derivation of the name KAIKO and where it came from. Do you want to share with our listeners where the name came from, and also maybe describe a little bit about KAIKO Systems and what you guys are doing? But I thought it was quite interesting with regard to the way you chose that name.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're trying to do with KAIKO Systems is help shipping companies collect a standardized data set at scale for the maritime industry. And we're doing that by starting with the frontline and empowering those that are representing each shipping company each and every day on board of the vessels, the seafarers. So we're calling ourselves a frontline intelligence platform, since the ship management is really driven by the frontline and by the seafarers. And what we do is we equip seafarers with mobile tools that allow them to collect data and plan their work and automate their reporting on board of the ships. And the parallel to KAIKO, which the namesake is actually a unmanned underwater drone from Japan that has collected data at the very bottom of the Mariana Trench many years ago, very successfully. And not only is it a fitting analogy for what we're doing, collecting data around the oceans, but we also thought that the way that this drone was kind of marketed and branded in a bright yellow, kind of sticking out across its peers, and we really liked that. And so the name is paying homage to that successful endeavor.
It's quite good getting a name like that because it sort of sticks in people's sort of consciousness as well, you know, which I think is quite good. One of the areas that KAIKO has been sort of getting heavily involved in, I've seen quite a lot of your media messages and what have you, is the development of SIRE 2.0. And the Oil Companies International Marine Forum, OCIMF, this month confirmed that its digitalisation ship inspection report programme, SIRE 2.0, is scheduled to go live, I think, on Monday, the 2nd of September this year. And it'll become the sort of standard tanker inspection tool for the marine industry. Now, they claim, Fabian, that the move to SIRE 2.0 marked the end of the phased transition to the sort of updated, enhanced and digitised tanker inspection program. It goes in line with what we've been talking about already, about the need for the industry to sort of embrace all of this. Can you sort of just talk us through a little bit about this? Because, I mean, I was brought up on SIRE and what have you, and knowing all of that side of it and how that was replicated, even on the bulk side with through RightShip and what have you. But can you really start by sort of getting us to understand the differences between SIRE and SIRE 2.0 and what this sort of move towards digitalisation is really going to mean? And what the opportunities and challenges are for the industry there with SIRE 2.0.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I really want to say that OCI IMF is not just following the zeitgeist with SIRE 2, but it's actually really driving what matters in the industry. And I think from the wet fleet and from the tanker industry, this will definitely also impact the rest of the global maritime ecosystem. And so, yeah, I think it's very impressive what they have set up there, and we truly believe that it's a great progress in the industry. But yeah, let's talk about it. What does it mean? So SIRE 2 basically introduces changes to the existing ship inspection report program to enhance inspections and basically how comprehensive and accurate they are, with a particular emphasis on the human factors. So the areas where there is a change is, first of all, the inspection scope. So SIRE 2 expands the original inspection scope with over 1,600 page question library that is really tailored for various seafarer ranks. So not only senior and junior officers are being tasked with representing and presenting and explaining their responsibilities and their knowledge, but also ratings. And that really ensures a more comprehensive assessment of the crew's knowledge and the vessel's preparedness in general. The second part is the emphasis on the human factors. So what is completely new is that the performance of the crew is assessed by so-called performance influencing factors, such as physical, psychological, and social elements that really impact crew performance. And so for that, seafarers are asked questions and are interviewed. And this is really a very new aspect to it that hasn't been there before. And all of this is supported, as you mentioned, by digitizations. So for the first time, these inspections are conducted using a digital questionnaire on tablet devices that really enhance the data quality and the reporting efficiency, and should also contribute to a more comparable baseline across different inspectors, across different geographies. And the reporting also follows a bit of an updated system. So it includes detailed observations and ratings for various inspection aspects. And all of this will allow for more granular feedback and identification of specific issues.
But this all comes at a time when you still got an aging population within the seafaring community. You've got a large percentage of the ship-owning fleet still slow to embrace digitalisation. How easy or how difficult is it going to be for the process to work there? I mean, I'm looking at very much holistically, looking at from that sort of helicopter view, because when you've got, certain crew members who are sort of, more sort of able and keen to sort of deal with digitalisation, and others who aren't, what are going to be the challenges ahead, do you think, for all of this, Fabian?
Yeah, absolutely. There are definitely challenges coming for the shipping companies, but we believe that the changes and the progress that OCI IMF is making with SIRE 2 is definitely warranted and important, and will contribute to a more safe marine ecosystem. So, first of all, shipping companies will have to expect an increased number of findings, no matter what, since the new regime just will cause a higher number of findings. So there will be a transition period from the previous to the new system, where basically charterers and customers will ask why there is an increased number of finding and where the industry needs to find a new baseline that is, so to speak, acceptable and not acceptable. So there will definitely be a communicative challenge around all of this. In order to prevent a massive increase in findings, it is also recommended to truly in a very targeted manner prepare for SIA 2.0 and not, so to speak, just rely on the existing procedures and the existing training regimes, as you mentioned, there is a new and a renewed and increased responsibility for all crew members to represent the company and to represent the vessels, not just the more senior and experienced crew members, but also the junior officers and ratings. So it's really recommended to make sure that those seafarers know what is going to be expected of them and deploy targeted training methods for that. And in this kind of preparation phase, it's very important to allocate the required resources, whether that is the classic way of increasing the manpower, or also investing in new technologies that can help with that at scale, and also review the additional performance in order to get better over time.
You're in the business of developing software products. That's what KAIKO does. Making life easier for owners and managers and what have you. But when you talk to companies with regards to SIA 2, what are they saying? What do they want? To make the whole process easier. And where are you seeing the opportunities? I suppose it's what is your platform actually developing or doing for the industry now, as far as SIA 2.0 is concerned?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we have developed specifically with the purpose of making it easier for shipping companies to perform better at these SIA 2.0 vettings is a self-assessment tool. This self-assessment tool basically combines not just the software and the method of collecting feedback and data, but also the content that is really targeted towards the SIA 2 question library. So what we have done, and we have been working with this topic and around this topic for probably 1.5 years now. So we're really deep into that, both with our internal team, but also in collaboration with our great partners in the industry. What we have done is we have taken the 1,600 pages of the new question library, and we've taken it apart and translated it into a comprehensive self-assessment questionnaire that is targeted towards every individual rank. So based on your rank, you'll get your individual questionnaire. You can fill it out, answer it on the go. You're asked to collect pictures, collect data about the condition of the ship, but also answer questions about your knowledge of the processes on board, and of course, check the human factors. And so all of this ensures that there is a realistic picture of the status quo, of the level of preparedness of each individual seafarer, vessel, and therefore of the whole fleet. And then what we do is we visualize the gap analysis in a dynamic, constantly changing and updating way of the status quo versus the goal of where the fleet should be. And by that, we help shipping companies uncover their, so to speak, shortcomings, or where there still is some work to do, their development areas, and allow them to deploy in a very targeted manner changes, training, or improvements that basically allow them to reduce the number of findings when the vetting actually happens. And then track that over time, compare it with the actual findings during the vetting, and make sure that there's basically a living, ever-evolving dynamic system that allows shipping companies to constantly improve and be the best that they, and present themselves in the best way that they can towards or as part of this new SIA 2 regime. What
are the companies saying to you when you go and talk to them about your platform? Do they see it very much as, this is something we need because it's essential to us, meeting the terms of the, 1,600 pages is a significant amount, but what is the market saying to you, and are they ready for all of this now?
Yeah, what we hear is from shipping companies is, wow, that's a lot, right? Like many were not aware that there's actually so many questions and there's so much asked from every individual seafarer, and so we are currently in trials with dozens of shipping companies. Like it's really very exciting to see how much need there actually is. It's a bit frightening, to be honest, because there are some shipping companies that are way ahead, that have already been preparing since last year with us and by themselves, and that have been getting ahead of the curve. And we also see those that just come around now and say, hey, we need something in place. We have kind of not looked into it in depth yet, and so for them it's really almost a cheat code of making sure that their crews and seafarers are prepared. And so we're running We're running trials, we're running rollouts on so many fleets right now, and it's really getting high time. So the feedback is great for the seafarers. It's really much easier to prepare. And one quote from the master of a tanker recently was that it is so much easier for him to prepare. They can really answer their questions on the go and not from the couch anymore. What we've heard is that the previous or regular preparation process involves basically the master sitting at his computer with the officers lined up behind him, and then him pulling up the PDF document, and they all kind of go through for an hour or two and go through the questions and casually discuss, oh, are we ready? Are we not ready? Has anybody been at this and that area of the ship any time recently or not?
Yeah.
And it's all just kind of like a casual discussion, because the crews are really not equipped with the tools that make it easy for them to do a good job. And so with KAIKO, they are. And we make sure they're equipped not just with the best software, but we're also partnering with great hardware providers like iSafe Technologies that also support OCIMF with their hardware. And so we make sure that they get the best package, and that really gets rewarded. So we really get rewarded for that, and the seafarers. It just makes their life so much easier, and therefore drives performance for the shipping companies.
I just want to ask you sort of one final point, really, just looking at the way the industry is now moving ahead, and next 2 to 3 years, 5 years, goodness me, do we even want to look that far ahead? But how do you see? What are your thoughts in the way that the industry is going to be changing with regards to AI and digitalisation? And who are going to be the drivers of that change? Is it going to be very much the market? Is it going to be the regulators? Is it also going to be, companies like yourselves coming in and saying, look, these new regulations are coming in, the compliance is there, and we're here to help. But first of all, how do you see the industry changing? What are the exciting things, that you and I would be talking about in 3 to 4 years' time? And also, who are the drivers, and what are the drivers here?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. I think you've given a part of the answer here already, since it's not only the regulators and the markets and the providers of solution, but it's all of them kind of in concert. So, of course, shipping has traditionally been driven by regulation. There's no way to say it in any other way. Like, new regulation drives new behavior, as the baseline is really what has to be lifted. And so what we see is a lot of awareness that new regulation is coming, and therefore a lot of preparedness for it as well. So what we've always seen is that the wet fleet standards kind of expand into also covering the dry fleet and so on and so forth. So it gets expanded, and therefore all standards are lifted across all areas. And so this will be definitely a major part. And so what we are doing with KAIKO Systems in order to help shipping companies prepare for that and be ready for that is provide these self-assessments, provide the best tools for seafarers that they can use, so that shipping companies have real-time awareness of the condition and the performance of their fleets and their crews, and connect that to methods to alleviate potential gaps and issues, and just drive that forward. And so we definitely see that while regulatory change will be the driver, this will definitely result in a change in market outcomes. And whatever drives market outcomes, that's where the focus of shipping companies is going to be. And yeah, all these new standards, they are definitely going to be a big part.
Brilliant. Well, Fabian, a very, very exciting time ahead without a doubt. And I'd like to thank you for taking 25 minutes of your time today to talk us through. So thank you very much indeed for your time today. Excellent stuff.
Thank you very much, Sean. It was my pleasure.